This is the Power of Research World Quest in Nod-Krai, Barrowmoss Barrens area. You stumble upon someone calling for help in a thunderstorm, and he seems to definitely need some. I can't imagine how you two warriors managed to make it through the thunderstorm, but that's not the point right now. I need your help. Don't worry, there's no way we'd stand by while someone needs help. What do you need us to do? Please, help me get the Airspace data collector up in the air. Airspace data collector? You mean that big round machine? That's right. All you need to do is align the strong Kuvaki side of each assembly module with the collector and push them into place. Then the collector, that big round machine will float up in the air. That means everything's working. Alright, seeing how desperate you are, let's help him out, Lily. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So all we need to do is align the strong Kuvaki side of each collector. Let's do it. Finally, it worked. Warriors, my name is Fongel. I'm a researcher with the Fontaine Research Institute. I saw everything just now. You were absolutely incredible. May I ask your names? Paimon's Paimon, and this is Lily. We're adventurers. Have you been stuck here for a long time? If not for the two of you, I might have been stuck much longer. You're the first ones to make it through the thunderstorm safely. Surely you should be the first one. No, of course not. I don't have your luck. You probably won't believe me, but this abnormal weather is probably a result of my being cursed. Cursed? Wait, do sciencey people really believe in that kind of thing? Indeed. In fact, that's why I got into science in the first place. To find a way to break this curse. I know it sounds crazy, but if you'd gone through half the things I have, you'd understand. Whenever I cook, even when I'm just mixing a salad, it somehow catches fire. If I hang out the laundry, a tornado is guaranteed to blow it away. Things like that happen to me every single day. I call it the Fongel effect. That really does sound unlucky. Isn't there a way to break the curse? Science, of course. That's the only way. That sounds reasonable enough, but something feels off. Isn't a blessing usually the way to break a curse? I tried all the traditional methods when I was younger, but none of them worked. In the end, it was the Fontaine Research Institute that saved me. They taught me how to fight against it. Since mixing salads causes fires, I invented a cooling system for food. In fact, that very system ended up being used in Fanta vending machines. Now everyone can easily enjoy ice-cold Fanta, and that's thanks in part to the Fongel effect. Heinrich's been so grateful to me for this. Before coming here, I learned that the extreme weather in Nod-Krai could be incredibly dangerous, so I made sure to install a lightning protection device on the collector, just in case. Without it, the experiment would have probably failed a dozen times by now. Oh, so science really did beat the curse. You could say that. But as you saw, I got pretty flustered just now because I overlooked one critical factor. The collector might be fine, but with the Fongel effect following me around, there's no way I can conduct the experiment properly. So you've just been running around like that ever since you got here? Until we found you? That's right. The Institute saved me, so I couldn't bring myself to go back without something to show for it. That's why your arrival is such an unexpected turning point. As I mentioned earlier, I came here to study the safety of Kuvaki under extreme weather conditions. I believe it could be a much safer energy source than Archeum. You've probably heard about the explosion at the Fontaine Research Institute, right? At its core, that accident happened because Archeum is still too dangerous to use as an energy source. Of course we heard about it. You're looking at none other than an honorary senior researcher of the Fontaine Research Institute. Mr. Raimondo must think very highly of you. For most people, even earning the title of assistant is quite an achievement. Though I agree with Mr. Raimondo's views, things like Fonta don't really contribute much to science. What we truly need is a more reliable alternative to Archeum. If my theory proves correct and Kuvaki is really a safer option, the Institute might even rename Fonta to Fanta in my honor. Is that really a possibility? That sounds amazing. So, may I ask for your help? If you're willing to help me complete my experiment and collect the data I need, I'll make sure to propose that both your names be added to Fanta. Fan Lily Paimonta? That's quite an impressive name. Lily, let's help. Alright, but I imagine sales will take quite a hit. You think the name's too long? Then let's go with Fanta Paimon. Lily, you're not joining the co-branding? How modest of you. I'll be sure to give you a special thanks in the acknowledgements section of my thesis. We managed to get the Airspace data collector into the air earlier, but unfortunately it didn't get quite high enough. All you need to do now is lift it up a little more. To get it higher, you'll need to stack more assembly modules. Simple and effective, huh? I'm counting on you. Sounds simple enough. We got this. In that case, shall we start setting things up? When adjusting the assembly modules, just make sure the strong unipolar field is facing the collector. Sure thing, let's get started. Oh right, I just noticed that there's a signal issue in one of the 3 channels, but it can be fixed by resetting the robot. Now let me set up the experimental parameters. Fongel finishes setting up the parameters for the experiment. Okay, push each assembly module into the correct orientation. Looks like the orientation of these assembly. According to Fongel, we just need to reset the robot so the... We've got the data, so that means we're done here, right? I'm sorry, but we still need data from higher altitudes. That's how scientific research works. It's all about patience and precision. We can't rush it. Okay, but you didn't get struck by lightning when you went to set the parameters just now, did you? Maybe that curse of yours isn't as bad as you think. So, for this next experiment... No. It has to be the two of you conducting the experiment. If I tried, something would definitely go wrong. Please, you have to believe me. Okay. Paimon suddenly feels like renaming Fanta might not be enough. No problem. As long as you're willing to keep helping with the experiment, then putting your likenesses on the Fanta label would be more than fair. So that means everyone who buys Fanta will get to see Paimon and Lily on the label? Yes, you'll be known around Tevat, but for two scientific pioneers like yourself, that's still a pretty modest reward. So what do you say, shall we keep going? For the sake of scientific progress. In that case, let's get back to the experiment. Excellent. I knew you were people of extraordinary insight. Once you're ready, I'll go set up the parameters for the next experiment. We're ready. We'll need higher altitude data this time, so we'll need to stack 3 assembly modules for each channel. However, you only need to manually adjust the modules for 2 of the channels. Leave the rest to me. Fangel finishes setting up the parameters for the experiment. Fangel! There was an accident. The collector got hit by lightning. Yeah, I saw it too. The Fangel effect, it's intensified. Even with the lightning protection device and your help, we can't hold it back. Well, things might not be that bad. Don't give up just yet. The only way to break the curse is by advancing science. Exactly. According to your theory, the only one who can defeat the Fangel effect now is you, Fangel. Oh, you're right. If I fail, this curse won't just destroy me. It will destroy everything I hold dear. If, in the end, even the Fontaine Research Institute I would never forgive myself. We are at a critical stage of the experiment. Based on my initial analysis, Kuvaki does indeed seem safer than Archeum, but for real-world applications, that conductive phenomenon we just observed must never be allowed to happen. I have to identify the cause. The collectors crashed. It's certainly unfortunate, but what really matters is the data inside. Could I ask you to retrieve it for me? Alright, leave it to us. Please be careful. I'll check here to see if the issue was caused by the equipment itself. Let's head toward the direction where the collector went down. It looks badly damaged. All we can do is recover the data. Doesn't seem to be here. Let's keep looking. This should be it. Let's take it back and let Fangel have a look at it, shall we? I'm so glad you're okay. I was starting to worry the Fangel effect might have gotten to you too. So how did it go? Did you get the data? We got it, but the collector was already... I suspected as much. The designs never accounted for the impact from a fall. That was my oversight. I've found a few leads on my end as well, but it's too early to draw any conclusions. I'll need you to analyze them together with the data you've recovered. Give me some time to dig into it. Could you come by again tomorrow? Hey, over here! Good news! I've made a breakthrough. I'm 99.5% sure that the Fangel effect didn't affect either of you. That's great, though Paimon wasn't really concerned about that. But if it wasn't because of the Fangel effect, then why did the collector get struck last time? Because the lightning protection device inside the collector was never tested for repeated use in such a high Kuvaki environment. The materials eventually gave out from fatigue. The fix was actually pretty simple. I tested a bunch of materials with different parameters based on this area's Kuvaki concentration and found something way more durable. Look! This is the Nod-Krai Airspace Data Collector 2.0. I stayed up all night to finish it. With one final high-altitude test, we'll be able to determine the experiment's results. Why is the Collector 2.0 so much smaller than the previous one? Advanced models are usually more compact, Paimon. Oh, Paimon gets it now. So Paimon really is more advanced than Lily. Ho 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 ho. While that's usually true, the reason the 2.0 model shrank so much this time was actually due to the limits of the material used. I had to cut a lot of non-essential features. For example, the entire structure for lifting it into the air. Huh? If it can't get up in the air, how is it supposed to collect data from high altitudes? It's all because, you see, many of the greatest leaps in human knowledge come when the researchers themselves step in, even if it means becoming the subject of their own experiments. They say Heinrich's team drank tens of thousands of bottles of Fanta to perfect the flavor we have today. So, you get what I'm saying, right? You want to conduct the experiment yourself? Huh? No, not me. It's enough of a miracle that the Fangel effect hasn't affected you two. If I were the one to try it, it would be a total disaster. Not that I mind trying. Sooner or later, the curse will devour me anyway. But the research on Kuvaki is too important to be left unfinished. How about this? I'll just redesign the Fanta bottle to be shaped like you two. Or we don't have to call it Fanta anymore. It could be Paita, Manta, or Lilita. please, for the sake of scientific progress, take the Collector 2.0 with you into the skies. Since it's for scientific progress, how about Paimon does it? Huh? We're both part of his co-branding, aren't we? Then why is Paimon the only one being sent off? I'm not sure that'll do. Even in the name of scientific progress, we can't run experiments on someone so small. I was just thinking of making you a glider or something. It's okay. I've got one already. I was only joking. You gave Paimon a scare. Don't joke around like that. But don't worry. Paimon will be going with you, Lily. Oh, so you already have a glider? That's amazing. Then we can check that off the list. Alright, let me explain the latest changes. Just yesterday it occurred to me, since the thunderstorms are bursting with Kuvaki, instead of avoiding it, why not harness it? In other words, we can actively attract the lightning. This relay device was built for exactly that purpose. Attract the lightning? But that sounds dangerous. You'll be fine. Most of the Kuvaki in the thunderstorm will be converted into an upward force field. The remaining energy will be captured by the Collector 2.0 to power the enhanced lightning protection device. Trust me, your chances of getting struck are no higher than 0.0067%. So there's still a chance Paimon might get struck. So, statistically speaking, there's a negligible risk. I mean, no proper scientist would ever claim something is 100% certain. This will be the final experiment. Channel the lightning to the lightning rod over there, then launch up and collect the data. The lightning protection device in the Collector 2.0 will keep you safe. I'll let you know as soon as we've got enough data. And I'll do everything I can to keep you safe. So, ready to go?
For the sake of science!
That's the spirit. For the sake of science! Remember the steps. First, conduct the lightning to that high lightning rod, then fly up high. The experiment was a success. Just as I thought, Kuvaki has huge potential. Thank you both. This is the critical data I was missing. Once I've combed through it all, I can finally get started on my thesis. I hope the research results on Kuvaki will truly achieve what Mr. Raimondo envisioned, freeing people from their reliance on Archeum. This would be an enormous step forward. Looks like we actually helped with something big. That's awesome! Indeed, progress marches forward. My thesis should be done in a year or two, and maybe in 20 or 30 more we'll start to see the real impact of what we did today. 20 or 30 years? That long? That sort of time frame is already a breakneck breakthrough. Scientific research takes time, you know. It's all about patience and precision. We can't rush it. Alright, fine. Paimon really thought that we'd get to try a bottle of Fan Lily Paimon Ta any day now. I'll be sure to suggest that to Heinrich and the team. Oh, and here, take the Nod-Krai Airspace Data Collector 2.0 as a thanks from me. I've removed the data collection module, so it's classified tech from the Institute. I hope you understand. It no longer has any data collection functionality, but the lightning protection still works. Hopefully it'll come in handy for your adventures. Just a heads up, it only works on thunderstorms that carry Kuvaki. It won't be effective against regular lightning, so once you're outside Nod-Krai, it probably won't be of much use. Wow, that means we won't have to worry about getting struck by lightning while we're out here exploring. Science really can defeat a curse. Well said. And finally, thank you both again for your contribution to science. Once I've sorted through the raw data, it's time for me to head back to the Institute and start writing my thesis. A device developed by Fongil for the collection of data from high-altitude experiments. Its data collection module has been removed, but it can still block damage from lightning strikes, although it only seems to be effective against the special lightning in Nod-Krai.